Hey guys, how's it going? Elliot here again, and in today's video I'm going to be refurbishing a Game Boy Light. This is actually the second one I've got. I've got another one here, but this one's a little bit dirtier and it needs a little bit more of a clean. I'm quite excited to clean it because after you've cleaned it, it's quite a rewarding difference. But if I just lift it up here and show you, I don't know if you can see that, but around the start and select there's a little bit of dirt, also inside the Nintendo logo. And some of the corners are a little bit bashed up, but there's not too much I can do about them. Other than that though, it's in really nice condition. I've tested it all, it seems to work perfectly well. As you can see with this one, it's pretty much mint. So yeah, so that's what I'm going to do in today's video. It's a little bit difficult. I've still got my cast on, but I'm going to do my best. It's not going to be any sort of repairs. The start button, as far as I'm aware, needs a little bit of cleaning. The start button's quite hard to press, but that's something that's really not too much of a big deal, and I'll be able to sort that out very quickly. So without any further ado, let's just get straight into taking it apart. Okay, so I've taken the back piece off. As you can see, the inside seems to be in really nice condition. There doesn't seem to be any visible problems or anything. One thing that I have noticed, which is definitely a little bit different to some of the previous Game Boys I've been cleaning on this channel, is as you can see in the middle there, it says warning, risk of electric shock, and then there's like a green box underneath it. That's something I've never noticed before. There's also the hazard triangle as well there. So I don't know about you guys, but this is the first time I'm actually going to be having a look at the inside of a Game Boy Light. Everything from the bottom half seems to look exactly the same as a Game Boy Pocket. As you can see, the membranes are all pretty much the same. But as for the actual screen, there's some weird stuff that I've never actually seen before. The ribbon cable seems to kind of extend down onto this little see-through piece, which has its own slot in the internals of the shell. The buttons all seem to be the same, and the ribbon cable, for the most part, looks alright. But the screen is actually blue, which is something that I've never seen before, so that's quite interesting. Without any further ado, we're going to go into a little bit more detail, taking it apart. I'm going to take these buttons off, and we'll see where we get to. Okay, so that's all the membranes nice and clean, and they've also had their contacts nice and cleaned. So the next thing we're going to be doing is having a little look at the motherboard. It's just something I kind of want to show you as opposed to actually repairing. As I mentioned before, the backside looks pretty much exactly the same. It's a bit of a mix between the Game Boy Pocket and the Game Boy Color. Obviously the contacts are in a little bit of a different position, but if you flip it over to this front side, you'll see there is actually quite a huge difference. One of the main things being this kind of chip looking thing here. Not too sure what it is. There seems to be some numbers on there, if I can get that in the focus. So I'm not entirely sure what that is. There's also these little sets of contacts here. So these two little contacts here are then pressed up against these contacts here, which is sitting in the little kind of pin here to keep it in position, and then that's pressed down by a little piece of plastic underneath, so that makes sure that there's a good connection there, which is quite interesting. Alright, so I've cleaned all the contacts on the motherboard. just use a little Q-tip just to kind of rub it down. If you do have some rubbing alcohol, I would recommend it, but again, don't use anything too like corrosive. The little pieces of metal on here are only very, very thin, so you don't really want to end up taking them off completely. So the next thing we're going to be doing is focusing on cleaning up the two pieces of the housing. As I mentioned, I'm going to be leaving the screen in here. I also can't be prying the plastic as I used to do because my hand is occupied. Okay, so at this point everything's nice and clean. I've cleaned all the main bits of dirt that I could find, and I've also given everything else a little bit of a rub down. This actual blue piece here looks to be the like backlight module. I don't really want to fully take it out, but it actually is separate to the screen. So I'm not too sure if this is actually what the backlight module is, which is quite interesting. When both my hands are fully operational, maybe I'll take it apart again and we can have a little bit of a look, because it's obviously quite interesting. It's just quite hard to do things at the moment, and I really want to be careful with this stuff, just because of the price of it all. Anyway, so I'm going to go ahead and put everything back together, then we'll put some batteries in and test it and make sure everything's still good. Okay, so we're right back at the start, except this time we have a really nice clean Game Boy Light. I'm really happy that I've picked this up. I managed to get a really good deal for it. I also bought it off of a guy who also sent me out a free Game Boy Pocket here, which is really cool. He also does a lot of custom modifications to Game Boys, so he's going to be sending me out one of them later on for me to show on my channel, which is really exciting, both for me and hopefully you guys as well. I haven't actually seen a modded Game Boy before, so I'm, as I said, very excited for that. Anyway, without any further ado, let's just double check that this Game Boy Light actually works anymore. Okay, so everything seems to work absolutely perfectly, which is really nice. It didn't have any problems before, apart from the start button, which was a little bit temperamental, but now everything's working really, really nice. As you can see, the Game Boy Light screen is extremely clear, even without the light on. If I can quickly try and turn it off here. Yeah, you can still see it's nice and clear. It's quite hard to turn the light on and off whilst the console is actually on, because yeah, sometimes you just turn it straight off because the on button is the same as the off button for the light. Anyway, that's pretty much it. I hope you guys have enjoyed, and I'll catch you in the next one.